Welcome back. This is the third and last video in looking at how sea level rises, where it's going to come from, and the impacts that it will have around the globe. And so you should have this map open on your screen. Okay, and we're going to be starting from number 20, the instructions. So again, you're going to click on the show contents. And again, here are all our different layers. And the only one we see that's on is Antarctica 20,000 years ago. Now, this is what this layer shows: the outlines of the countries and the land 20,000 years ago. And back then, it's believed that the oceans were 400 feet lower than they are today. So you'll notice this yellow area was all land. Okay? So there's a lot more land than there used to be. So between France and England was all land. You could walk from Russia to Alaska and down into North America. And so there's some questions you need to answer based on that projection. So the key here is, if the western ice sheet melted, scientists predict the oceans would rise about 5 meters. And if the eastern ice sheet melted in Antarctica, sea levels would rise about 50 meters. And if all the ice melted in Antarctica, sea levels would rise roughly 73 meters. So what we want to do is look at what impact that each of those options would have on cities and countries around the world. So one by one, I want you to turn on these different layers here. Now it's important to know, okay, whichever one's highest up is the one you'll see. So you don't want to turn on total thaw first, because then you won't see what happens at 5 meters and whatnot. Okay. So click on Antarctica today, and you'll notice, right, there's a lot less land. Okay. All that land that used to be there is now covered in with ocean. So what happens, all right, if we get 5 meters of sea level rise? And you'll notice not much. Okay, a few tiny things, and you'll have to go through and explore these in detail. But the next one I want you to look at is Antarctica plus 50. So you go over here and you click on that layer, and you'll notice, all right, some serious changes start to happen around the world. And again, you're going to go in and find some specific answers. And then finally, we click on Antarctic total thaw, which means all the ice is melted in Antarctica. What would the world look like? And so you'll see some major changes have happened. And once again, you need to go in and decide what those specific changes are. And you need to make those changes based on each continent. Once you've gone through that, you're going to turn off all the layers except for Antarctica plus 50. I also want you to turn on rivers and lakes. And you should see all the world's major lakes and major rivers show up. Now if we zoom in, I want to zoom in on South America. All right, and this of course is the Amazon rainforest. All right, and the main river here is the Amazon, with all its little tributaries, which are just smaller rivers that feed into it. And there's some questions you need to answer on South America. So then press the home button. All right, now we can see the whole world again. I then want you to zoom in to Southwest Asia. Okay, so over here. And I want you to turn off, you can turn off the rivers and lakes, but I want you to turn on the major cities. Okay, so in a minute, you'll see all those dots, and each of these dots represents a major city around the world. And if you click on one, okay, it tells you the name of the city, the country, and its population. So if you wanted to look, you can see, all right, here's Auckland. There's Sydney, 3.5 million, and so on. So we're looking specifically, though, at Southwestern Asia, this area here. You'll notice some of them now, because we have what would happen if the world has 50 meters of sea level rise. Some of these major cities that have millions of people in them are actually in the water. And your task in groups will be to pick one individual city and make a plan as to how are you going to stop this, or what are you going to do to change and adapt your city so it survives if you get 50 meters of sea level rise. Now go back to your continents and turn on the country outlines. And you'll soon see the lines that show where the countries are all over the world. Okay, so now you can see all the different countries. And you'll also notice it shows where the current boundaries are. If you look over here, a lot of these countries have been completely cut in half by sea level rise. So once you've done that, and once you've examined some of the areas around the world that are going to lose its major cities, you have completed your GIS sea level rise activity. So well done.